Welcome to Vibe Coding Foundations 101. In today's video, we're going to be talking about storage, all the different types of storage that you will need when you're vibe coding in an application and how they're all related and how they're connected. We're going to be doing an overview of all the different pieces so that you could get a full comprehensive knowledge of what storage you're required to use in order to vibe code an application properly. This video is part of my series for non-technical entrepreneurs and builders who want to learn vibe coding, specifically on Cloudflare, but honestly it can work for any provider. It's really just foundational knowledge. It's a prerequisite to my course Building on Cloudflare 101. So if you're non-technical and you're just really trying to understand just a basic concept, that's what this course is about. If you're a developer, this is not for you by any single means. I couldn't find any single thing sort of online that could take you from zero. I don't know any single thing about coding. I'm interested in vibe coding to a scalable architecture when I was looking for stuff. So I decided to make something that actually gives you sort of that foundational knowledge. Hopefully it helps you in your journey, and I'm hoping that you actually can give me some feedback. And if you do, share it with other people so that at least they can learn how to vibe code as well. And my mission is to help 1 million people vibe code production grade application. So with that, let's jump right into the course. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between a storage, a cache, and files. Okay, what are the difference? Why do you need them? What's the rage about? Okay, let's start with the simplest and easiest one. So now that we have an understanding of state versus stateless, and the fact that we can't rely on any of these computers for the mere fact that we have a load balancer and any request can go to any number of these computers. We don't know which one it's going to go to because any one of these computers could have an outage at any given time. So in order for us to serve files up, let's say, for example, a video, this YouTube video that you're watching, or this video, that file has to come from somewhere. So generally speaking, that file is stored on a separate hard drive, okay, HDD for hard drive. And that hard drive, we normally call a blob storage, B-L-O-B, right? It's a binary large object. Or in Cloudflare world, it's an R2. In AWS world is S3, okay? All the same thing. S3 and R2 are compatible. Blob in the Azure world, right? It's just storage. It's just a bunch of hard drives. Why is this important? Well, the hard drives are automatically replicated. So generally speaking, at minimum, there's 3 replications. And they just deal with all of that complexity under the hood. You just think of it as data or storage. So whenever you load, let's say, a web page, that web page might have to fetch data from the file system, let's call it a video in this particular case, serve it back out, and then serve it back out to you. And so if that computer goes down, the next website, whatever it is, can also pull from that file system. That's the reason why you want to put things in like a blob storage or R2, etc., because those storage systems are significantly more redundant. And because you're in a stateless environment, you cannot store files on the computer that you're currently serving the request from. Okay, so that's a blob file system. The next one up is caching. Why would you need cache? It's very simple. Speed. So again, user requests a file comes from the web application needs to load a product catalog, goes to the database. The database is fast. However, if you have lots and lots of traffic from multiple users and they're hitting this endpoint and they're hitting this endpoint, because the load balance allows the web server to scale, you could see where we're going very quickly. You got a ton of traffic coming here, you got a ton of traffic coming here, you got a ton of traffic coming here. Each one of them have to go back to your database. And as you can see, that becomes a problem because it doesn't matter how much traffic is coming out on the front end. You could have n number of servers. You could have like 1,000 different servers. If they're all going back to one database, you're going to have a problem. Number one is the database, the way how it works is that it locks a row when it's doing like write operations and stuff like that. So if you got tons of people reading and writing at the same time, you're going to run into problems. You might run into locked data or basically dropped packets, drop information, right? Just think of it that way. So this is a problem. So sending too many users to the database at once is a bottleneck. Now, large database can scale to hundreds of thousands of requests, etc. But this fundamentally is a problem. And this is where caching comes in. Quick interruption. If you're getting value from this video, can you do me a favor and just click on the subscribe button? That would really mean a lot to me. We're a super small channel, trying to grow, trying to get the word out about vibe coding and Cloudflare. So any subscription would really help the channel out. Also, if you're getting value from it, can you do me a favor and just leave a comment on the video, giving me your feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Doesn't matter. I appreciate those feedback. I read every single one of them, and it allows me to sort of improve on the channel. And also, if you want more videos like this and you want to join a like-minded set of people that are also building vibe-coded applications, link is in the bio to my school community. It's dwain.me/school, where you could join a group of like-minded people and we could build something together. So if that's something you're interested in, follow the link. You could also book a one-on-one call with me and we could talk about your project and figure out how to get you from vibe code to profit. So with that, have yourself a wonderful day. Continue watching the video. So in the Cloudflare world, it's KV, key value. So the way how that works is whenever the request comes in from the user, let me just make this a little bit more simple. Whenever the request comes in from a user, one request comes in and it goes to a computer. The computer will then basically call out to the database. It's going to then return the data, and then before it sends it out to the customer, it's going to save it in the KV, key value storage. Once it's saved, it's going to then return the user to the database. So the next time a request comes in, hits the request, instead it's going to then say, hey, this information, I might just have it in cache. Let me check. And it's going to go check the cache, in other words, KV. If it finds a hit, in other words, if it finds a record, then it just returns back out right away. It never actually went to the database. That's why you want to have a caching system. That's why you want to have a KV storage system altogether, because it allows you to dramatically speed up the request. And because you don't have to hit the database, it actually speeds things up because KV is actually in memory for the most part, right? And database is usually on disk, okay? So memory is always faster than disk. And as a result of that, you can get things. And then the question is, well, what happens if the user updates the information? Well, when they do update the information, let's say they come in here and they hit another computer, so now they're doing a write, okay, and it might be write to this computer, it might write to this computer, because again, we don't know which computer they're going to write to. When it does the write, it will save the information to the database, the new updated record, and it's going to then go to the cache and delete the record from the cache. In other words, invalidate the cache. So on the subsequent read, it's going to do the exact same thing again. It's going to take the information from the database, check if it has it in cache. If it doesn't, then it's going to put it into the cache, and then it's going to return back to the user. And so this is why we have things like R2 to store really large data, and we have things like KV, key value store, in order to be able to sort of deal with the caching data, so that we don't overload the database with requests coming in. And KV is just significantly faster. That's that. Hopefully that makes some sense.